Welcome to another edition of Two Sites Unite. I am George Phillips with oilpressure.com, and you are?
I am Paul Dalby with fieldof33.com.
Okay, and we have finally gotten the 104th running of the Indianapolis 500 in the books. Takuma Sato is now a two-time winner. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that's a statement I certainly wouldn't have made 5 years ago. I can tell you that. But I predicted Sato on Saturday, and I backed up that prediction on Sunday morning. So I am on the record twice saying that he was my pick. This just the way I saw the race playing out, something told me that was a Takuma Sato type race to win.
You are not the only one. All through the weekend on social media, I saw people picking Sato. Kurt Cavan picked Sato.
That's right.
I saw a lot of people. I picked his teammate, Graham Rahal.
Mm-hmm.
Finished third, strong third, but he was never really, I don't think he led a lap, did he?
Not under.
If he did, it was in a pit stop shuffle, but I don't think he did. But ran a good race, especially because my picks usually, stuff it into the wall early on. So, but it was overall. What'd you think about the race?
It was much better than I anticipated. I have not necessarily been quiet about my displeasure with the Universal Aero kit since it came into being in 2018. I don't think IndyCar has found the right package on the large ovals with it. Short ovals, it raced very well at Iowa, and it's very good on the road and street courses. Large ovals, I don't think they're quite there yet. So I didn't have a whole lot of high expectations going into this race. I thought it was very, very good race, though. I thought the cars, whether it was aerodynamic, spec changes that they made, or with the aero screen, they seemed a little bit more raceable this year and not quite as on edge. Remember a couple of years ago when Elio and Sebastian Bourdais just lost it by themselves, basically driving all alone. I mean, those cars were so hard to drive, and it made for bad racing. I thought the racing was actually pretty good this year. I really did.
Yeah. Especially, in fact, I think Sato was one earlier in the week that said that we are not going to be able to pass any.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, he made a pass for the win.
Sure.
When nobody was expecting it. I'm not sure exactly what lap it was, about somewhere around lap 175.
I think you're 175, 178.
Yeah. So, but of course, as luck would have it, it was during a TV commercial. But I just remember seeing in the little side-by-side window, somebody passing Dixon. In fact, to be honest with you, I thought it was Marco passing him because all I could see was kind of a white front of the car.
Marco passed anyone all day.
Well, true, but I thought maybe Marco was unlapping himself. But I was sitting there watching that. Was that Marco? And then I realized, no, that was Sato.
Yeah.
So that was then I thought, okay, well, that's a pass in earnest. Well, Dixon will get him back. Never did.
Yeah.
That was the winning pass right there.
Yeah, surprisingly, nobody expected a winning pass to come on lap 175 or whenever that was.
No.
But I think Dixon and Mike Hull and that whole team, I think they just outsmarted themselves this year. I really do. They had clearly for the first 150 to 170 laps, they were far and away dominant. No question about that. But it wasn't like Sato was ever out in left field. It wasn't like he was driving around 13th and all of a sudden got lucky on pit strategy.
He was always up front. I mean,
he was always up front.
Yeah, he was always within reach of the leaders, and he saw his shot and he took it.
I just don't think he really saw the need to show all his cards early on. I think when as Bobby Unser used to say, when the price of poker goes up, he knew when it was time to put all his chips in, and he did just that. And thereafter, say, when did they hit that traffic? Was it like right around lap 190 they hit?
Yeah, somewhere around there, yeah.
Kimball. I think
TK.
Chilton?
I don't know if he was in there. He may have been. I'm not sure.
Whoever it was, you know, you thought, okay, crap. I mean, this is really where Sato's going to get bogged down, and here comes Dixon. He'll blow right by him. Especially Sato kind of got checked up going into turn one when they first caught the trap, and I just expected Dixon to just blow right by. And
I did too. I really thought, and I have an idea that Dixon thought that here's my chance, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, but not only was Sato strong then, but Rahal was strong. Rahal got stronger there at the end of the race.
Yeah.
So the Rahal cars were definitely hooked up. We're going to keep this briefer than our last couple of episodes have been, even though there's a lot to talk about. Two main storylines came out of this race, aside from the fact that Sato won. One, I think you and I are in total agreement on. One, I think you and I are in total disagreement on.
I know what they are, and you don't even have to tell me what they are. So let's start with the one we agree on. The decision not to red flag the race was correct.
Correct. I totally agree. I have never, ever liked red flagging a race, which was 2014 the first time that ever happened?
I believe in the Indianapolis 500, yes.
In the 500, yeah. And I don't even like it in other races, but especially in the 500. But
I think Fontana in 2012 was the first year that IndyCar really ever did that. I think when Ed Carpenter was leading, or the race that Ed Carpenter won, I think there was a caution with maybe 10 laps to go, and then they threw a red flag. That was the first time they had ever done it, I think.
Was that the same race where Ryan Hunter-Reay and Will Power was leading the championship, and they got together and Power went into the wall?
That was it.
Okay, same race, but they didn't stop it for that because that was early on in the race.
Yeah, that was about lap 75 or something.
Yeah. But anyway, so I digress. So I just feel like that, I mean, for decades, I mean, I saw a stat today where since 1940, this is the 16th race that has ended under caution. And quite honestly, I was surprised it was that few. I figured it'd be more than that. Mm-hmm. But they've been doing it for decades. And I mean, sure, nobody's wild about that, although the car in front is, but that's just part of racing. I mean, we as fans are not entitled to a photo finish at every single race. It just doesn't always happen. Right. And I mean, that's just the way it is. Tony Kanaan certainly seemed to have no problem winning under the caution in 2013. And I just, to me, it feels contrived. It feels manufactured. It's gimmicky. I can't think of anything good about it, really, except that, it satisfies those fans that thirst for these dramatic finishes. Yeah. And you probably can speak to this better than I can, but I can't think that it's particularly good for these engines to sit and cool and then suddenly fire back up.
Right. And I agree with what you say from the gimmicky, from the competition standpoint. If this accident had happened with 8 laps to go and they red flagged it, it's not my favorite idea, but I'm willing to make that concession, say, okay, in that situation, maybe, okay, let's red flag and let's try to get a green flag finish. I can understand that. But with the way this played out, Spencer Pigot's accident happened. I think the leaders were on lap 196. They were in the north end of the track, I think. So they were coming to start lap 197. By the time they can red flag them, if they throw the red flag immediately, they're basically on lap 198. You've got 3 laps left. You're going to, as you mentioned, you're going to shut these engines down for at least an hour. I mean, by the time you pick up all that debris and rebuild that wall, because you got to have that attenuator in place before you can start again. you're at least down for an hour. You mentioned the engines cooling off. You can't just start these engines and then with one yellow flag lap, throw them back to green. You need at least a minimum of probably 3 laps. So now you're already past lap 200. You're already there. Not to mention now the NBC broadcast window has closed. So now you've been kicked over to CNBC because they're not going to preempt the local news off of the local affiliates because that's a local affiliate's moneymaker. So now you've waited an hour with the engine shut down, get kicked over to CNBC to where at best you're going to have a 1-lap shootout. It doesn't make sense. It's a recipe for carnage. It's unnecessary. It's gimmicky. It's contrived. And it just doesn't make any sense. There just simply wasn't time to do it, even if you are okay with them doing it.
Yeah.
It being throw the red flag.
Which I think you and I are old school, and you and I are not okay with it. And I have an idea. I don't know this. I have not seen this in print, but I have an idea that Roger Penske is fairly old school, and I have an idea he's not okay with it.
Probably not. My first 2 races in 1988 and 89 both finished under yellow.
Yep.
Yeah. And other than rain, I'm trying to think of the other races that did. I think I saw something where everyone from 2010. See, Elio wasn't green. I think everyone from 2010 to 2013 did. 10, 11, 12, 13.
Technically, Weldon's did in 2011.
Yeah. Right. But, so, it happens. That's just the way
it just happens. And it's part of racing, and suddenly our culture just demands something different. And
right. I've read every excuse today, as in, you got to red flag it because you have. The Indianapolis 500 has to finish under green. Well, no, it doesn't. The Indianapolis 500. What other things did I read besides throw the red flag? Oh, that yellow flag lap shouldn't count. Well,
this isn't USAC.
Yeah, this isn't sprint car racing.
Yeah.
But so if lap 198 doesn't count, does that mean lap 125 doesn't count? Now, nobody should have a desire for the Indianapolis 500 to be more than 500 miles.
Exactly. So.
Period.
So we're in total agreement on that, and then there's the one that we are in total disagreement on.
That's what happens when you're wrong. I can't help it. You're wrong.
Yeah, and you are wrong.
So you go first this time. I'll let you on the floor.
Okay. And of course, we're talking about the call on Alexander Rossi exiting his pit, being released out of his pit, whichever, and colliding with Takuma Sato, who went on to win the race. I saw on Twitter, the Twitter machine today, I think, where you had posted something about, if you look at the replays, Sato had already left his box before Rossi. To me, maybe these are my old eyes, but to me, it looked like, if anything, that Rossi was released just a split second before Sato, but I will concede that maybe it was identical time. I do not think, and I've even seen the replay since I saw your idiotic post, that I have seen the replay, and you are wrong. They, just to give the benefit of the doubt, they left at the same time.
If they left at the same time and Sato started 2 pit boxes behind Rossi, how the hell did Rossi run into Sato?
Sato gunned it because he had, I don't remember who it was. Was it Askew or, no, he had already crashed within. Probably Award, one of the Aero cars, one of the McLaren cars, was coming up. So he was trying to get in front of him. And then here comes Rossi, and they collided. To me, no harm, no foul. Even if what you say, if a split second that Sato released first, which I don't think he did. But even what you say, do you really think that Rossi should have been penalized at that point and taken out of contention for the race? No, I'm asking a question. Do you think he should have been penalized?
Yes.
I think it should have been a no call.
I believe he should have been penalized. Yes.
Huh?
I do believe he should have been penalized.
See, I do not.
Do I get the floor now?
Go ahead.
I don't know how you can actually look at your audience and claim how long are Indianapolis's pit boxes? 45 feet?
I don't know.
48 feet? Something like that? Let's call it 50 feet. You're telling me that Alexander Rossi has a 100-foot head start over Takuma Sato. They leave at the exact same moment, but apparently Alexander Rossi just lollygags out of his, while Takuma wants to win more, and he guns it faster and makes up a 100-foot difference in about a quarter of a second. Am I understanding your logic correctly?
I think at that point, Sato was going faster than Rossi.
How could he go that much faster when they left at the same time? The laws of motion do not allow your argument to be
okay.
true.
Okay.
Sato had left. He was out of his pit box, well out of his pit box. He wasn't beyond the pit box, but he was certainly out in his pit box.
Okay, I'm not here to talk about the grassy knoll and the angles and everything else.
Not.
My question to you was, at that point, do you think that was such an egregious move, even if Sato, as you claim, left early? Do you think that move was just so egregious and so reckless that Rossi needed to be taken out of contention for the race? He deserved to lose the race on that move. You think so?
Deserved to lose the race? No, I agree that he should have been penalized. I also agree the penalty was too harsh. Now, as I was saying, Sato clearly had left first. Sato was straddling the stripe line with Award on his outside. There was nowhere for him to go. Rossi had a lane and a half between Sato and Marco Andretti, who was pitted directly in front of Rossi. Rossi had a lane and a half, plenty of room to get into the left lane going through, except he shot straight out of his pit, crossed all the way over the slow lane, and then ran into Rossi almost all the way into the fast lane, who had already slammed on his brakes trying to avoid the penalty. Rossi clearly did either intentionally hit Sato, which I'm going to give Rossi the benefit of the doubt that he did not intentionally run into Sato. I've got more respect for Rossi than that. I like Rossi a lot. I'm sure he did not intentionally run into it. The only other option is he did not have his car under control in that situation, and he flew too far out of the lane into a competitor. He had more than enough room to safely get out of pit lane. No doubt about it. The penalty, the call for the penalty was absolutely justified. Now, the penalty for the infraction, I feel, was too harsh. Going all the way to the back of the line for that penalty was probably too harsh in that situation.
I think it was incredibly harsh. I don't know what is that a judgment call.
I don't know what Kyle Novak and his team had at their disposal for options of penalty. I don't know if going to the back of the line was the least severe penalty. I don't know if it was the most severe. I don't know if there was an option to simply get in line behind Sato. But here's the thing: what if he breaks Sato's, left rear suspension, and Sato now has to?
He did not.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Here's the other thing.
This reminds me
as well. Remember back to 2012 when Dario won. In his first pit stop, he got punted by someone. Was it Simona or I don't know who it was.
I forget who it was, but
he
was
got
completely turned around.
Yeah, he got turned around. The last thing you want on the pit road at Indianapolis is a car to get spun around and shot toward all the pit crews. It's incredibly dangerous, and that contact that they had could have easily done that. He could have spun Sato straight left into the pit wall where Marco and Dixon's cars were, and you could have had a severe accident and danger to the pit crews. You simply cannot allow contact on pit lane, especially when Rossi had that much room between Marco and Sato. There was more than enough room. The fact is, Rossi's team sent him out, whether they knew they were coming or not. That tire changer has to know you pitted at the same time as Sato, who's 2 pits down. He's going to be releasing now as well. Somebody needs to know Sato's coming, and Rossi needs to have better control of his car to not send it at a trajectory straight into the fast lane when there are already 2 cars there, those being Sato and O'Ward. So yes, the infraction was absolutely justified. The penalty was harsh. I think that there needs to be a revisiting of the rule book to give more appropriate options. Because as you said, in the end, there was no harm actually done.
No, there wasn't. And I think in that situation, and it's not like they had to make a call before they got to the end of pit road. I mean, several minutes transpired. They had time to think about it. I think in the Indianapolis 500, when you're dealing with obviously 2 front runners, I think the best call there was a no call.
I don't buy it. I think anytime you have a driver lose control of his car and cause contact on pit road, you have to call a penalty.
I bet you were popular in high school, weren't you?
Yeah. Hey,
I'll bet you were the one saying, teacher, you forgot to give us homework.
Wow. See, just admit you lost this argument. You have just admitted you lost this argument. Let's go to the next topic.
I'm being absurd by dealing with your absurdity, or whatever the saying is. A no call was the proper call.
You lost. You have now succumbed to the desire to throw personal attacks, which is the definition of losing your argument.
No, we have a difference of opinion, and we agree on one major point of the race, and we disagree on the other major point. So, what else? So many people. This is Monday night, by the way. We're talking about this. So many people after the race and all day today on social media were griping about the TV coverage. Did you not see that?
I'll be honest, I was kind of busy today. I didn't do after my barrage until about 9:30 or 10 o'clock this morning. I didn't get a whole lot of time to see a whole lot of stuff on the Twitters.
Actually, I saw a lot of it even tonight while I was waiting on you to get home so we could do this. But lots of people were complaining about TV coverage. I mean, even when I wrote my post for today, I was last night after the race, all I saw was people complaining about the TV coverage. They want Paul Page back, just complaining about everything. And complaining about NBC Go. I understand this year fans are very frustrated about a lot of different things, but boy, are they taking their frustration out with words.
What's the genesis of the frustration with the TV?
I don't know. Too many commercials, missed replays. Excuse me. Not good angles. I mean, you name it.
Not good angles. They've used the same tired angles for the last 50 years of the track.
Actually, I saw a few new angles that I had not seen. I'm assuming that they were able to set up places that normally would obstruct views from the crowd. I saw a few views that I had not seen before. I can't tell you what they were right now, but no, I thought they did a very good job. I mean,
I didn't have. There were a few little. They were a little heavy on commercials. I was surprised when, somewhere around lap 180, they were still going to commercials. I was a little surprised by that, but
well, actually, at lap 180, they came back and said we're going to go have the last 20 laps commercial free.
Okay, so it must have been right before that. They came.
Yeah, because they were at commercial.
They came back for about a lap, and then they said, "Let's go back to commercial, and we'll take it the rest of the way."
Yeah, but still, I mean, as I said on my post today, NBC is not in this to strictly make sure that IndyCar fans get served. They're in it to make money. Exactly, as well they should. And I don't know all the economics of TV deals and ad revenue and whatever, but it just seems to make sense that, especially an Indianapolis 500 run in August, is probably not going to generate as much revenue as one run on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
I would think.
And the fact that we haven't heard ratings a peep about them yet, which, by the way, you never responded to my text about this. The fact that we haven't heard a peep about ratings now, geez, what are we, 20, 24, almost 30 hours after the race is over?
Yep.
I'm going to assume that means they probably didn't set the world on fire.
Probably not. But, it stands to reason, though, that, IndyCar ratings are still not great. I mean, they showed improvement some last year, but they're not great. And NBC has to make X amount of money, and there's no telling how much they have lost throughout the whole pandemic. I mean, several races lost, and they got to recoup this somehow.
Yeah.
And so they can't get top dollar for their ad space.
Right.
So what does that mean? They're having to sell their ads for a cheaper rate, but more ads.
Yeah, and I don't know that. I'm sure there were, but there weren't very many full screen, complete cutaway commercial sets yesterday, were there?
Not many. Most of the time they were national.
Picture in picture, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. Just the fans seem to want to complain about anything and everything.
Yep. Roger Penske hates the fans.
Roger Penske hates the fans. Just my streak is ruined, and I don't know how many I had done in a row. I guess it was 18 in a row. I don't know. But so did everybody else. And so when I'm on my deathbed, I can't sit there and say that I went to 38 races in a row. And even though, Doug Boles was nice, and he said, "Oh, your streak is still intact." Well, no, it's not. And I mean, that might make some people feel good, but 10 years from now, when I look back on it, I say, well, 2020, that was the year I didn't go.
Well, just print it out so that you have that paper that you can hold up.
I'll have the proclamation. But I mean, it's nice that he said that. But it was just. But the thing is, it's harder for me to say my streak was intact when I watched that entire race in my den.
Right. Yeah. I think my only complaint about the TV that I was surprised they missed the Carpenter incident on the first lap. I saw that as it happened, and nobody there said anything for a while. My biggest complaint is the same thing I complained about for probably the last 10 to 15 years is please stop butchering the opening ceremony, the pre-race ceremonies. It's not as bad, I guess, watching it on TV, but it just ruins it when you're there in person. That's my biggest complaint about the TV.
Yeah. And so far as Sunday's pre-race ceremonies, I talked about this in my post on Monday, but I know you and I both agree on this. Neither one of us are fans of the driver introductions because that's a relatively new. I hate to call it a tradition. That's relatively new creation.
Who were they waving to?
That's exactly what I mean. You know, I was just thinking it just looked a little awkward to be waving to fans that were not there. And 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 if you're gonna wave to the camera. Don't sit there and wave to all these empty stands. I mean, it was so awkward.
It was very awkward.
And how could they make it worse? Play that very bad music all the way through it.
Yeah, they would have played some Waylon Jennings. That would have been much better, I think.
I think that this year they could have just scrapped the driver introductions and just
absolutely agree.
Yeah, just give a little bio, a 10-second bio on each driver. If you love Paul Page so much, like Paul Page did in '91.
Yep.
So,
I agree.
The playing of taps, that was still very good. Jim Cornelison, still very good. In fact, very impressive a cappella. I prefer gentlemen start your engines versus drivers. What are you looking at?
Oh, it was just somebody just tweeted me something about. Oh wait, nope. Somebody actually liked my tweet that said that I was correct because Alex Rossi had plenty of room on his exit from pit lane.
Are we doing this live?
Yeah, we're live. Yeah, you know, my fans like to send likes at all hours of the day.
Did your wife send that to you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Anyway, so all in all, I was pleased with the race. It was strange. It was different. No, I didn't like being shut out, but you know, I got over that. That was announced on August 4th. By August 5th, I was over that and just, you know, accepted it. I moved on. Huh?
You said they announced that on August 4th.
August 4th, they announced that no fans would be there.
Yep. You're right.
This is August.
Yeah. Delete that part.
No. But I, you know, I accepted it. I didn't like it, but I accepted it. I moved on. But these people just allowed that announcement to just destroy the race for them.
So are you suggesting that out of spite, you are not going to boycott the 500 next year?
No, I will be there next year.
Wow. You
I know,
really
that's
are. You're really mixing it up here. I mean,
I don't know. That's really, I'm
you're
really
a
a that part,
if
aren't
you're a real fan, you'd be staying home next year on a protest.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I do. So anyway, it's I I'm starting to say I get it, but no, I don't get it. Just why everybody is so, I'm not going to use the term, they're just so perturbed over everything. Everything. Like, I've never seen so much complaining as I've seen in the month heading into this year's 500.
Well, it's the legions of the, what is it, malcontents?
The legions of the miserable.
Legions of the miserable.
They have multiplied.
Yes, they have. No, I thought it was a good race, and you know, yeah, I agree. It sucked not being there. I would have loved to have been there. It was a exciting race. I think would have been enjoyable to be at, but we weren't. Get over it. I mean, there's nothing we can do at this point. The race has been run. I'm not going to stop being a fan because we couldn't be there. I'm not going to stop supporting the event or the track.
It's just one of those things that's out of everybody's control.
That's exactly right.
And pretty much about like this asteroid that's going to hit in November. It's out of our control, and I'm not really going to worry about it.
No, I don't think I will either.
Anyway, we've passed the 30-minute
Did we really?
mark. Yes. So anyway, anything else? Any other parting words?
Boy, I haven't come up with a lot of parting words, but I'll get them jotted down and posted on Field of 33 before too long, and we'll call that good for now.
Okay, and then no rest for the weary because there's a doubleheader this weekend in St. Louis.
That's right. Right back at it.
Yep. And it's open to fans, but we are not going.
No, I'm painting my basement this weekend.
Yeah, I will be watching, but probably not wise to be going there and all the corona.
No, no, the Rona wins again.
Yep. So we may, emphasis on the word may, try to make the Harvest GP if they allow fans and or media. Maybe. We'll see how things are at that point.
See how it all shakes out then.
Yes. But anyway, give you the last shot.
I got nothing. I think let's wrap it up there. Well, glad that you at least agree with me on one thing, even though you're wrong on the other. But we'll just agree to agree that you're wrong, and we'll move on.
Yeah, that's it. All right. So since he's going to keep harping on that, I will close it out. So for Paul Dalby with fieldof33.com, I am George Phillips with oilpressure.com. Thank you for watching.